Okay, so here we are live once again with another DC Multiverse unboxing, and this is going to be the Page Punchers Dr. Fate Injustice 2 comic. I've opened up two other figures in this line in the past in this assortment. One was Green Arrow, which I got the one with the hat, and the other one was Supergirl, which I really like that Injustice Supergirl costume. I mentioned in that video it reminded me a lot of the some of the costumes she wore in the late '60s, early '70s in her solo series when she was trying out costumes that mostly were designed by the readers. Anyway, we got Dr. Fate to open up. And the main reason I'm opening this up is because this week I'm going to do some twofers with Platinum Edition figures. Since I did that with Guy Gardner on the last episode, I thought it would be fun to do some more that I have. So the next episode, we're going to be opening up the Mcfarlane Digital, the Justice League of America, Dr. Fate, the DC, the Silver Age, Dr. Fate, and I have the Platinum Edition of that, whereas the classic Doctor Fate is in the blue and yellow, looking very much like the Superpowers action figure. The Platinum Edition is in the black and gold, and he looks really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting those opened up. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about this Doctor Fate figure, and that way I could compare the four Doctor Fates that I have on hand. I do have one more, which was the Black Adam Doctor Fate, the one from the Black Adam movie. But unfortunately, I don't know where he is. He might be in this box down here. So I know I've got some multiverse figures in this box, but I don't know for certain if he would be in here or not. Let's check through here real quick. Just do a real quick glance through here and see if maybe he's in this box. But he's not anywhere where I'm seeing him like instantly, so I'm kind of doubting that he's in here. Yeah, yeah, I don't think so. So maybe I'll be able to turn him up, maybe, uh, before tomorrow, but I kind of doubt it. So we'll talk about the two Injustice figures and the two comic book figures. That way I'll have this guy opened up, and this is not going to be a twofer. There's not. I don't think there's a platinum edition of this figure, but I do have the previous Injustice Doctor Fate figure, and I'm pretty sure they share some parts. So I wanted to make sure that we compared on those and figure out which is the superior version. I wasn't planning on picking this guy up originally, and the main reason that I did was because he was like really cheap. This was when the Walmarts, at least in my area, were getting in a bunch of, I guess, older stock of the various DC Multiverse lines, and they were selling them for like $15 a piece. So I guess it's stuff that they had like in their warehouse, and they were just trying to get rid of them. So I got a bunch of those around that time. You've probably heard me mention it because I've opened up a few, and I still have a few more left to open up. But let's go ahead and open this guy up and get that at the bottom, and then we'll pull out the inserts, and we got a full-size comic book, and I believe it's the same comic book that came with the other two figures in this assortment. And the trading card, we're just gonna set that aside for now. And the typical Mcfarlane figure stand, it's in a little baggie, so let's go ahead and get that opened. And voila. Even though this is technically with the Page Punchers supposed to be a different line, this is DC Direct. It does have the same Mcfarlane figure stand that we usually see with DC characters. It is kind of a matte black plastic, kind of semi-gloss with this one. They vary as to how exactly matte they are, but a very glossy DC logo embossed onto it. Set that aside for now. We got a trading card. And unfortunately, as we see a lot with these Page Punchers figures, it's just got the comic book cover on the trading card, not a unique piece of artwork featuring Dr. Fate. Not even like where they just take the cover and crop it so it's highlighting the Dr. Fate image on here, which would make sense. Like that would be something to do with this. But no, it's just the same cover we get, only the back is different. And it does say Dr. Fate down at the bottom. That's what the back looks like. And it reads, Page Punchers, Dr. Fate, real name Kent Nelson. Powerful sorcerer Kent Nelson wears the helm of fate, which sees the fate of all mankind for better or worse. He knows that the world will end either by Brainiac's hand or in a war between Batman and Superman. Though the helm compels Kent, I don't know why I said Kate, to preserve this grim fate for the sake of order, Kent's humanity compels him to intervene on behalf of his heroic friends and risk the unforeseeable consequences. All right. No accessories for this guy, no extra hands or anything like that. What you see is what you get. So let's go ahead and get Dr. Fate out of the package, and then we'll have a look at him next to the previous Injustice Dr. Fate and look at some of the parts that they share and the things that are different. And, obviously the paint scheme is a lot different. And part of the reason I kind of slept on this guy was because I'm like, I already have an Injustice Dr. Fate. Do I really need another one? And I didn't really look too closely at it initially, but once I saw him in the store for cheap, and I'm like, well, I might as well go ahead and buy him since he's only like $15. Then I started to really look at the figure, and I realized that this is not, as I thought before, just a simple repaint of the same exact figure from before. This is, in fact, while it does share a number of parts, and we'll get into all that. And this is kind of annoying. I'll talk about it in a minute. But even though they share a lot of parts, there's still a lot of parts that they don't have in common. So he's got this kind of rubbery sheath over the torso, and when I went to move it pulled it up like how like when you have your shirt tucked in and you reach up too far and your shirt comes untucked. That's basically what happened to this figure. So I'm going to try to get the shirt back in there, and then I'm just going to try to never move his torso again. but I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting the whole thing back in. It kind of makes me wonder if it was ever really all the way in. It does look like there's an extra rubber piece down at the bottom. But the main thing that I noticed that was different at first glance was that this figure has this kind of skirt loincloth piece, and this one just has regular pants. So that was something that I saw, and I'm like, oh, well, that's completely different, isn't it? And then he's got the same breastplate, the same torso. He's got different shoulder pads, because you can see the first one has an ankh on the shoulder pads, and the second one does not. Got the same forearms. Looks like the same hands with the Eye of Horus on there. It looks like different boots. This one has almost sort of more like a scaly texture to it, and this one has more like ridges. So yeah, the boots are different. The knee pads are different. Again, these knee pads have ankhs on them, and these knee pads are more sort of plain. The shoes, the actual feet, they look like they're the same, only this guy has the toes painted in gold, and this guy does not. But the sculpt looks to be the same. And I can't see all the legs on this guy because of the loincloth piece, but it didn't come loose, so I can kind of pull it back a little bit and have a closer look. But it does seem to have like the same kind of pattern sculpted into it, so I'm pretty sure that is the same one. This suit kind of reminds me a lot of the suit that Dr. Fate wore when he appeared on Smallville, if any of you out there remember that. And of course, since the whole pelvis piece is different, the belt is different too. The previous one has a scarab with some bird wings at either side, and this one has more like an owl. Now, one thing that I like a lot better on this one is they painted the helmet and the shoulder pads and the forearm pieces and the shin guards. They painted all that gold, and it's a really nice, shiny, yellowy gold. It's uh, if you look for this shade of gold in the paint section, the craft paint section, you'll see it under the name of Inca Gold. And this guy, they've just got the helmet and all that stuff molded in gold plastic, and that gives it kind of a slightly translucent quality, and it's not quite as shiny, and to me it doesn't look quite as good. Like you can see the difference quite a bit, I think. And his cape is kind of more of like a pearlescent, sort of very pale yellow, whereas this guy, it's almost more like a tan sort of color, kind of like a yellowish sort of tan. Like when they try to do gold, but they don't have metallic, so it just looks kind of like a dark yellow. So, so I don't think that this guy is quite as impressive looking as the previous release. I think this guy has a little more detail to him with the onks and everything, and the painting I think looks a lot better on this one. But this guy's not bad if he's all you can get a hold of. They did put some more detail on the helmet, and normally I'm a guy who likes extra detail, but I kind of feel like Dr. Fate's helmet is one of those things where it's like it's kind of elegant in its simplicity, and you probably shouldn't mess with it too much. Like even this one, you might remember me saying that like I kind of felt like they put a little too much detail onto it, and they probably should have made it a little more sort of plain, you know. Whereas this guy, they added even more crap to it. So he's got this kind of like this kind of edging, see, around like where the brows would be, like right over where the brows would be, and there's like an extra plate here, and there's like some kind of almost like sideburn looking pieces that make it look almost a little more like an ancient Roman helmet, but he's not supposed to be ancient Roman. He's supposed to be like Egyptian. And honestly, I don't think the original Dr. Fate helmet looks particularly like any kind of Egyptian helmet I've ever seen, but he's just a comic book character. So they just probably at the time were just trying to make him look cool, and just kind of used ancient Egyptian stuff because like that was kind of hip to do in comics at the time. You know, you saw it with Hawkman, you saw it with Captain Marvel, like you saw a lot of ancient Egyptian stuff in a lot of Golden Age comic book characters. It's not an unusual thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So Dr. Fate can't look up very far. That's about as far as he can look up. He can look down about that far, so that's pretty good. Kind of tilts his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, Dr. Fate's arms rotate all the way around his shoulders, and they move up about that far. You can see the shoulder pads do kind of bump into the cape or the breastplate, and they do kind of layer over the cape a little bit if you do it just right. So that's about as far up as I can get his arms to move, which is pretty good considering how he's a guy with shoulder pads and a cape and a breastplate and all this other stuff. Now, of course, he does have a bicep swivel, which on mine is like really tight, but his biceps should rotate all the way around. But again, that shoulder piece is going to bump into his chest when you do that. But it can move enough. It can move enough. It can move about as much as you know your shoulder really can rotate in real life, so that's fine. He's got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows, and he's got the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulation, which rotates all the way around and hinges back and forth. And it's got the same thing that kind of bugged me on the previous one, where I kind of feel like they should have colored in the wrist joints to match the shirt sleeve rather than the skin color, because I think that would have made it look a little bit less awkward. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. It's an aesthetic choice. It's just kind of how I look at it. So we already talked about the problems with the articulation in the torso, so we're just not going to move that anymore. But technically, he should move back and forth, side to side, and rotate all the way around at the torso, but I don't want to mess with that anymore. Dr. Fate can kick up about that far. He's practically a rocket as far as that goes. Uh, Definitely a lot further than this guy could because of the skirt. So that's one way where this guy is definitely superior to the previous release. And then he's got that little bit of wobble there that Mcfarlane figures tend to have, but it doesn't rotate all the way around. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you're going to get at the knees. And then no boot cut, but the boot does rotate all the way around. But he's got that good Mcfarlane ankle articulation where it rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the shin, and it rotates all the way around where the foot meets the ankle. And then it's got a hinge, so you can move that around any which way you want to. You know, Mcfarlane's got those great joints at the wrists and the ankles, and you know how much I love them. And I'm going to miss those when Mcfarlane is not doing these figures anymore. And as much as I like the stuff Mattel's been doing with Masters of the Universe these days, like the ankle joints on, like, say, a Masterverse figure, and I figure we're going to get some Mattel stuff that's at least equal to Masterverse. You know, they're good ankle joints. Don't get me wrong. You can see how well I'm able to move that around, and he's got a boot cut, so that helps with that. But it's still not quite as good as the articulation that you get with the Mcfarlane ankles and wrists. So yeah, this Dr. Fate figure is basically the same as the previously released Injustice Dr. Fate figure. And if you've got this figure, you pretty much already got this figure. You know, it's definitely like not quite as similar as I initially thought, and I did not give it enough credit as far as that's concerned. But it's still, you know, it's still pretty much in the same ballpark. So I'm glad I got this guy for cheap, is what I'm saying. Like, he was definitely worth picking up for $15. But yeah, I was probably right to pass on buying him for full price because I already had this guy. So but still not a bad figure. And if it was the only Dr. Fate figure you could get your hands on in this line, you know, it'd be a pretty decent one to have. But the movie one, I think, is this Injustice figure is better than this one, and the movie figure is better than this one. And it looks to me like our Silver Age versions are going to be better than this one. So I've got to say that this is probably like my least favorite of the Dr. Fate figures that I've opened up in the Mcfarlane Multiverse lines so far. But he's still pretty cool. And I should say that this is a credit to Mcfarlane that I can even sit here and talk about which is the best Dr. Fate figure. That we've had four, like, well, five. I've got four right now, but we've had five at least Multiverse Dr. Fate figures, and I think there was another Injustice version that I missed out on. But yeah, that's more than I can say for Mattel's DC Universe Classics line, where we did get two Dr. Fate figures, but technically one was like a chase variant of the other. And I think I got both of those. I know I got the Hector Hall version because I preferred the look of that one with the gold helmet and, you know, the kind of Egyptian type collar and everything. I really like that particular look for Dr. Fate. And I generally prefer him having a gold helmet over a yellow helmet because, I mean, it's supposed to be metal, right? You know, but whatever. Tomorrow, next episode at least, I'm planning on doing it tomorrow. It'll probably be tomorrow. We're going to open up both of these. Excuse me. And then I'm going to open up both of my armored Ben Affleck Batmans. Hey, there's Captain Have Fun. He says, hey, how's it going? Son is fine. Doc thinks it was an insect bite. Ooh. Well, poor little fella. I hope he does all right. We were, for those of you who don't know, me and Captain Have Fun were originally going to do a stream tonight, but he had to take his son to the doctor. So everybody, give your best wishes to Captain Have Fun and his family, and hopefully we can get together and do something next week. I'll let you know something about my schedule as soon as I can. But yeah, so next episode I'm gonna open up both of these puppies, and then we're gonna do the armored Ben Affleck Batman. And then while I only have the standard version figure, I don't have the platinum edition of the figure. I have Two Face, and I kind of figure if I'm opening up uh, double figures, if Two Face is appropriate, right? It might be more appropriate if I had both of the Two Faces, but I just have the standard, the comic book version of Two Face. So that'll be the one that we open. I don't know what I'm going to do after that, but I've got a ton of DC multiverse stuff to open up for you. I have the Superman, the Silver Age Superman that came in that assortment. Captain Have Fun says, I have a few Dr. Fates. His colors are awesome. Well, yeah, I figured you'd be a fan of of that color scheme. And then, of course, whenever we get around to doing that stream, I'm saving this bad boy to open on that. So, and then we've got which one is this? Which Batman? It's the Keaton Batman, and we've got Lex Luthor. Still need to open up Lex Luthor. Future State Batman. We got Owlman. Going to open him up at some point. That's going to be. I also have the Superman versus Ultraman 2-pack, and I have I have the Platinum Edition version of the Simon Baz figure, where he's in the crime syndicate, the Power Ring costume. I don't believe that character actually is Simon Baz. I think that the crime syndicate version of Simon Baz is actually Solomon Baz, who is his brother. But Owlman is also not Bruce Wayne. That's actually Thomas Wayne Jr., who we'll talk more about him whenever I open that up. Anyway, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of that stuff, make sure that you like and subscribe and all this fun stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Dr. Fate, both the character in general and this figure specifically. And if you played the Injustice video game, let me know in the comments if you thought he was a fun character to play. What your thoughts are, because I don't play a lot of video games. I've not really played the Injustice video game, like either one of them. I did play I think a little bit of Injustice 2 when I was over at a friend's house once, but I don't remember too much about it. I think I played as Harley Quinn fighting Solomon Grundy or something like that. It was just characters that were random, because I think I just let's see how Harley Quinn plays, and then Solomon Grundy was just who I wound up fighting. But I might have picked that one because I liked the way that they wrote Harley in the Injustice comics. I think it was Tom Taylor who wrote those, and he's a guy that I hear some people like him and some people don't. But the main thing I read of his was the Injustice comics, and I did enjoy those. I thought those were pretty good. But yeah, I'm not familiar with Dr. Fate in the video games at all, because I haven't really played those video games. But I always really enjoyed the character in the comic book, and he's a character that actually originally when I first saw Dr. Fate, it wasn't in the comic book. It was actually the Superpowers action figure, and you can bet we're going to talk about that some when we get to talking about our Silver Age Dr. Fate figures. So that's going to be the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to go ahead and finally try to get some sleep, because the sun's coming up, and much like a vampire, that means it's time for me to sleep. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.